Yeah. What's interesting is that Article 11, I don't think, ever had any ambition other than to create that spark within within Malaysia for push towards greater discussion. I think that's happened to some extent.
Well, we are certainly exploring different ideas for continuing our public education activities. This type of setting is one of them. We are also going to continue with the court and media advocacy work that was very active in 2006. If the opportunity arises for open discussions, roundtable discussions with other groups, we would definitely be open to exploring those as well.
But the dialogue has to happen on open terms. There can't be any pre-drawn lines in the sand, sensitivities. It must be a frank and open discussion based on constitutional values and based on a social contract theory which recognizes that everybody has an equal say and equal right to protection in this country. We'd like to see that happen because that really is one of our visions.
Citizens of this country should know about the Constitution, and that the Constitution has enough provisions within it to help all people who live in harmony, as diverse as we are. So, as interfaith groups, we have always welcomed. It is not a dichotomy between, say, Islamic community and all the other religious communities on the other hand. It is basically that we as Malaysians all come together, look at our constitutions, find how we can work within the framework of that constitution to continue to live in peace with one another. Laws in this country cannot, on the other hand, infringe upon or impinge upon our rights as religious communities. And this is what we need to talk about. And this is not being talked about, rather only aspersions are cast. And this is very, very dangerous for religious country, diverse country like ours.
It's no point sitting down and saying in a dialogue that we can all live together, but then going out and fighting, which seems to be the case in Malaysia. We have lots of dialogues. If you ask me what I'd like to see happening in order to allow us to carry out what we think is a nation-building effort, we'd like to see the government actually say to us that could we not work with you in consultation to see and explore what exactly the nuances that we're looking at here. Maybe recognize the fact that the government may not have seen all the dark corners of the situation that we're discussing. But of course, in order to do that, we have to recognize that the Constitution is supreme. And in the aspirational rhetoric of the conservatives, or those who find Islam useful politically, that is a non-starter. Because by accepting that the Constitution is supreme, they have to recognize that they have to first change the Constitution to get where they want to go. Now, it's interesting because one of the common complaints about Article 11 is that we're trying to change the status quo. But the reality is very, very different. We are espousing the status quo. The other side, the conservatives, are actually trying to change the status quo. And it's all done in smoke and mirrors. And unfortunately, key organs of state, because of the way race and religion is used politically, and because of the racial makeup of these organs, from the executive to the judiciary and parliament, I think to some extent have allowed for that process to happen. A confusion of roles and personal views and preferences. So I think in a way Article 11 is still very much alive and kicking in the minds of the average Malaysian. I think we'd like to see an opportunity to push on, because this is not something that we're getting benefit out of. This is something that if we achieve or we're allowed to bring to fruition, will allow a Muslim to say to a non-Muslim, you leave me alone. I'm going to practice my religion the way I want it. And allow a Muslim to say to the next Muslim, you leave me alone because I want to practice my religion the way I want to do it, within acceptable parameters, of course, and so on. So the secular, quote-unquote, vision is one which guarantees a full freedom of religion for Muslims, in as much as it will guarantee a full freedom of religion for non-Muslims.